event, we focus on small and medium-scale enterprise, which is closely related to SDG. It's just an avenue to ensure the empowerment of women and youth, wealth creation, and promote national economic development. The challenge of addressing the current problem of hunger, poverty, and unemployment in the country is very paramount. As you're probably aware, investment in such training programs in the small and medium-scale enterprise does provide a link towards achieving the much-needed diversification of the economy, which is required to reverse the current economic downturn. The entrepreneurship and vocational development, particularly the micro-enterprise, at the bottom of the pyramid cannot be overemphasized. Based on the need to industrialize, diversify the Nigerian economy, and develop the rural community, stem youth restiveness, and reduce unemployment so that we can create a platform for sustainable economic growth and development in Nigeria. It is important to note at this forum that the National Directorate of Employment, ND, is partnering with the Future Assured by training additional 200 women from across the state, in addition to the 2,000 women that will be trained by Future Assured.
Today is the flag off of the training for women on income generating activities. And here you have our women in the thousands who are here to welcome you, because we indeed appreciate what you're doing to the entire women of Lagos. Though some of them will be benefiting, will be participants in this training program, but to all of us, we appreciate this initiative and we thank you most warmly for coming to Lagos. I must say, with this program, a lot of women are going to be lifted from poverty. We are going to add on to better their life, and forever they will be very appreciative of your kind gesture. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. So the participants, I must urge you to take advantage of this opportunity that is being provided this afternoon. You learn, you gain, you begin implementation, and you better your life. Therefore, commit yourself to the training and take the best of skills that you can get out of it. And I have no doubt in my mind, with your commitment and the implementation of what you're going to be taught, the sky will be your limit. Your Excellency, I must also say that at a time like this, the best we can do for this great nation is to continue to increase productivity, because with increments in productivity, the cost of things will go down. And with the opportunity you have provided, the women of Lagos will surely take advantage.
The wife of the president was accompanied by the wife of the vice president, Dolapo Oshinbajo, the wife of the Senate President, Toyin Saraki, and that of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gambia Dogara. The beneficiaries expressed their happiness with this gesture.
Apart from normal entrepreneurial training, ND does what we call follow-up. You know, they try to know the problems businesses face and then try to do like mentoring programs. Like recently we had enterprise finance and counseling clinic program. And this women empowerment program that is being organized by the wife of Mr. President in conjunction with ND, I think is a very welcome development.
I want to actually appreciate Aisha Buhari for this initiative, because I know that she's a woman, and anything that has to do with a woman, she puts her heart into it. And if you empower one woman, I bet you she will empower 100 more in whatever you have taught her to do. And even the men as well. It is good. They are always at home to always take care of everything when the men go out to do, and so do other hustles. And so we want to actually appreciate her for this initiative, and we know that she will continue to go higher, and then better things will also come our way, and the country will be better for us all.
It's going to be a lot of benefits for us, because we will not more wait until our husbands come back before we provide for the children and for ourselves. She wants to teach us how to fish and not just giving us fish. She's a mother to the core, and we say a big thank you to her.
I want to achieve something good because I have salon already. So I want to learn another skill so that I will move my business. So I want to learn art now, so how to make art so that people will be patronize me.
I think it's a good thing she's doing for people like us. I've always wanted to start like an interior decorating company, but I don't know how to go about it. I don't have the, the knowledge. But here I believe that I'll be able to get all that.
Mo fẹ́ ṣe ni bag and shoe maker. Mo fẹ́ ṣe. Mo adúpẹ́ fún Mohammed Buhari àti ìyàwó wọn Aisha fún ètò tí wọ́n bá gbé kalẹ̀, ètò ìkọ́ṣẹ́ tí wọ́n gbé fún àwa obìnrin ní ìlú Èkó láti ṣe iṣẹ́ takuntakun tó ń ṣe fún wa kí Ọlọ́run kó túbọ̀ bá ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́.
The finals of the Men and Women African Cup of Nations. It's always frenetic. On days such as this, there are no tribes, no religion. Here, Nigerian warriors are out to represent, to show the skills that makes us the best. On days like this, the color is one. The color is green. When we get the job done, it is because we have stuck together. When we celebrate, we stand together. Nigerians, united in victory. We are Nigerians. We are one.
Badagry, lined with coconut trees, can best be described as a coconut town in Nigeria. But the coconut traders don't seem to have enough products to sell. Still, we gather that more coconuts are imported from other West African countries like Togo and Ghana.
This is the famous coconut market here in Badagry. Of course, we see people who are doing brisk business, people selling and people buying. Incidentally, this truck that you see here is on its way to Osogbo, filled with nothing else but coconuts. Let's find out all that happens in this market.
I have been into the business since I was a young girl. It is over 40 years. I always come from Osogbo to buy coconuts here. Presently, we buy a heap of coconuts at 1,500 naira or 1,600 naira. We pack 4 to 5 heaps of coconuts into one sack. 40 pieces of coconuts makes a heap.
Male traders and female traders come here to buy coconuts. They buy in heaps of 40 coconuts and take them to Kano, Zaria, Oyo, Ibadan, Osogbo, and Kwara.
This is where we buy and sell coconut. People import coconut from Seme. Togo, Lomé, Ghana. The Igbo people buy the bigger coconut and sell a heap at 1,600, 1,700 or 1,800. They will buy the smaller coconut and sell at 1,000 naira or 1,100. It depends on the grade.
It is interesting that even coconuts are imported to Nigeria.
Gas pipelines are the arteries for powering electricity. When the artery is burst, then the entire system collapses. Vandalizing gas pipelines is a criminal offense against the Nigerian.
Hello, the nation is abuzz with no other than the news of how the Buhari administration is pulling the country out of recession and what the 2017 holds for Nigeria. The proposed budget for 2017, more than 7 trillion naira, and that's what the government intends to spend. We'll bring you details of the report of Wednesday's presentation to the joint session of the National Assembly and some reactions to it. In other news, the police said it has 5 suspects in custody regarding the murder of a police officer in last weekend's Rivers rerun elections. Elsewhere, some people are trembling in fear as the news of a hitch in a so-called money bus scheme hits the airwaves. And that's a bit of our outlook tonight on News Extra. I'm Rhoda Obo, and we are reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, let's start with the presentation of the budget by the President today. The federal government has proposed to spend over 7.2 trillion naira for its services in the year 2017. Christened Budget of Recovery and Growth, the figure is 20.4% higher than that of the outgoing year. President Buhari, who presented the budget to a joint session of the National Assembly, said the plan provides a clear roadmap towards ending recession and placing the country's economy on the path of steady growth and prosperity. Our State House correspondent, Adamu Sambu, has got more details.
It was a calm and friendly atmosphere in the hallowed chamber of the House of Representatives as President Muhammadu Buhari led the 2017 Budget of Recovery and Growth before the joint session of the National Assembly. Meant to continue with the 2016 plans aimed at restoring growth and stabilizing the economy, the budget is predicated on a benchmark crude oil price of $42.5 per barrel, an estimated oil production of 2.2 million barrels per day, and an average exchange rate .
Meanwhile, the National Assembly says the 2017 budget presented by the President has the potential to take Nigeria out of economic recession, as they will work around the clock to ensure quick passage of the appropriation bill. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Sunko reports.
The Senate President, Abubakar Bukola Saraki, assured the President that the National Assembly will work with the executive to ensure that it surmounts the present economic recession by passing the 11 economic reform laws alongside the 2017 budget. He urged the executive to continue with engagement with various segments of the society, especially with the Niger Delta and all parts of the country. The Senate President stressed the need for more private sector participation in the economy and support for local content.
Our country can no longer rely on the public sector alone to spend us out of recession. It is therefore critical that we mainstream private sector business and investment in the economy.
Speaker House of Representatives commended the President for what he described as lofty content of the 2017 budget. He said both the National Assembly and Executive must work together to ensure that budgets run for a complete period of 12 months. The Speaker explained that the change promised Nigerians must reflect in the nation's budget.
Implementation and execution of the agreed budget
is always a major challenge year in, year out. Sometimes implementation rate is as low as 30%, most time. It is never higher than 50%. Of course, this is an inherited problem for Mr. President, as he has only effectively passed through one budget cycle.
Some members of the National Assembly also commented on the 2017 budget.
Special attention is being given to agriculture, and I was very much impressed when he said they'll use proceeds from oil to not only develop oil but also develop agriculture.
Well, I have with me Chairman of the House Committee of Finance, Representative Babangida Ibrahim. He's here to tell us what is his own view of the 2017 budget as presented by the President.
We have to take into consideration the current trend in the international market as regard to the crude oil and see how best we can either sustain it or adjust it based on the power given to the National Assembly.
It's an estimate, it's a proposal, you know what I mean? Incidentally, we may have to adjourn for the Christmas break. But as soon as we come back, we're going to attend to it as first priority.
The House of Representatives earlier held its Wednesday's plenary, where 2 bills were passed at second reading and 5 motions adopted. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the 2017 budget proposal has 529 billion naira allocated to sustain key policy implementation and delivery of good governance in the power, works and housing sector of the economy. Hamza Musa Makafi reports on the salient issues in the estimates for the power sector and initial reaction by stakeholders.
You will recall in the 2016 Appropriation Act, the sectors of power, works and housing got the lump sum of 433 billion naira. And in the 2017, there is an increase. But what are the issues? The President is talking about addressing liquidity issues in the electricity market of Nigeria. Of course, you know, the sector has been privatized, but the distribution, transmission, as well as the generation arms are not making enough money in order to finance investment and grow the sector.
On this part, government has made provision in the 2017 budget to clear its outstanding electricity bills. This, we hope, will provide the much needed liquidity injection to support the investors.
Similarly, President Buhari identifies peace in the Niger Delta region as key to uninterrupted flow of oil and gas sector to support revenue base and the power sector. But what is the reaction of participants?
And so I was very excited when the President himself now said, okay, we have a problem of MDAs not being alive to their responsibilities to pay their debts in the electricity sector. And of course, he also talked about raising money for the other, issues that are within the sector. So
if we address clearly the infrastructural deficit in the power sector from transmission point of view, we'll see a lot of improvement in houses and of course in industries across the country. So I was excited when he touched on that. So I think it's a well thought out budget. But don't forget that why it looks so good is that there was a lot of cooperation between the legislature and of the executive from behind before even the budget came to the floor.
I'm sure Mr. President must have known that power is very critical to any industrial growth. So the provision in itself, because I have not yet analyzed the budget item by item, but the bulk allocation indicates priority to that sector.
Power really, for me, is the heart, is the brain boss of the economy that should be addressed. And if the only thing this administration will achieve is steady power supply, Nigerians will be happy for it.
Hamza Musa Makarpi, NTA News.
Now, a high-power level economic ECOWAS mission to the Gambia has encouraged President Yahya Jammeh to reconsider his rejection of the recent presidential election results and work towards upholding the nation's constitution for lasting peace, stability and democratic order in the Gambia. This was during the mediation talks convened by President Muhammadu Buhari and other sub-regional leaders in the Banjul, aimed at resolving the political impasse in the country. Now, State House correspondent Adamu Sambu quotes the opposition coalition leader saying their hope is dependent on President Buhari's military experience and his opposition leadership ground.
No one needs to be told that since the December 9 public statement by President Yahya Jammeh changing his position on the outcome of the country's presidential election barely 1 week after conceding defeat, the Gambia has been in a state of uncertainty, apprehension and despondency. Worried over the situation, President Muhammadu Buhari and 3 other African leaders converged on Banjul towards ensuring that peaceful and smooth transfer of power is not undermined. Consequently, series of meetings were held with the outgoing President Yahya Jammeh, President-elect Adama Barrow, heads of security services and other stakeholders on the best way forward. The joint mission asked President Jammeh to accept that the people of the Gambia have spoken through the ballot box and their decision should not be reversed. The President-elect Adama Barrow, on the other hand, was impressed upon to refrain from making statements that could create further anxiety but commit to peaceful transition. The African leaders also appealed to the Gambian security forces to reject violence, uphold the constitution and laws of the republic, give full respect to human rights and discharge their duties professionally.
We met with all the entities concerned. And now we go back to our colleagues at a meeting of the authority on Saturday in Abuja. At the same time, the President, all the entities have assured us that peace and stability will remain in the Gambia as the transition process proceeds to a conclusion.
We're optimistic that, the situation has been calmed, and we hope that the Constitution will be respected. I think another important issue is that the Independent Electoral Commission that carried out the supervised elections are adamant that it was really free and fair, and they have all the documentation to prove that that was the case, and that's really important. So the main protagonists, Mr. President, the President-elect, the Election Commission, and the security chiefs are all agreed pretty much that follow the Constitution and maintain peace and respect for the law. So that was very heartening.
President Yahya Jammeh, who has been on the throne for 22 years, lost re-election bid to Adama Barrow, considered defeat, but later reneged on that and made some questionable promotion in the nation's military. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Nigeria-Algeria Binational Commission, set up in 2002 to enhance bilateral cooperation and which had gone moribund, is being revived at a meeting between Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and Algerian Prime Minister Abdelmalik Selan. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade reporting from Algiers, Algeria, says the feat is important of matters arising addressed during the Vice President's two-day official visit to that country.
The Vice President was received on arrival into the country by Algerian Prime Minister Abdelmalik Selan, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Ramtanel Lamamra, and other top government officials of Algeria. Also to receive him were Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, and Acting Ambassador of Nigeria in Algiers, Musa Nuhu. After a brief reception at the Wari Boumediene Airport, the Vice President, along with the Algerian Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, visited the Square of Martyrs, where he laid a wreath and observes a moment of silence in honor of the fallen heroes. And back at the State House, Vice President Osinbajo held meetings with his Algerian counterpart, Abdulmalik Salal, on economic matters and stresses the importance of cooperation among African countries, especially in the fight against terrorism, which he describes as the greatest challenge confronting the continent. He also met with the country's president.
Sure, some might be aware of the Trans-Saharan Highway, the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, as well as the Trans-Saharan fiber optic facility. These are all economic issues that we are looking at, and we have also discussed very widely with Mr. President on issues of cooperation in the Africa Union and issues of cooperation in the fight against terrorism.
The Trans-Saharan Road, which will start from Algiers up to Lagos, Nigeria, and then the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline project, which will start from the Niger Delta to pass through the Niger Republic to Algiers, then to Spain and Italy.
Diplomatic relationships were established since 1962, and since then the relationship has fostered and forged ahead and grown stronger and stronger by the day.
A state dinner was organized to honor the visiting vice president and his entourage. In Algiers, Algeria, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And back home, the factional chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, says his group remains open for reconciliation as it awaits a court verdict on the leadership crisis in the party. He stated this during a visit of a group of the PDP members from the Federal Capital Territory. Abdullahi Garba Benukudu has more details.
Senator Ali Modu Sharif, who spoke for the first time after the failure of the last reconciliation effort with Ahmad Makarfi Caretaker Committee, said his mission is not over stay as chairman, but to build the party and hand over to the people who own it. He denounced money politics and impunity as hindrance to internet democracy in the nation's polity.
I want PDP to be owned by the people. Along the process, I've seen different different kind of blackmail. Sharif wanted to be president. Sharif wanted to take he's working for NNPC. Next, Sharif is
On Rivers rerun election, the factional chairman said he is still awaiting the report of an 11-member observer team he sent to Port Harcourt before the election. Take two. On Rivers rerun election, the factional chairman said he is still awaiting the report of an 11-member observer team he sent to Port Harcourt before the faction takes a position on the election. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Brunukudu, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online on the go via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Up ahead, firming up the nation's defenses, the Commander-in-Chief pledges to motivate military as some officers advance in rank. Stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
When you look at the world today, what do you see? The obvious, or much more? Do you hear a call or two of the talents of thousands paying off? Do you see an instant message of millions of strengthened relationships? Do you see an app or creative entrepreneurs? An email or multiples of successful business transactions? Do you see charity or renewed faith in our shared humanity? Do you hear the laughter of millions of people in Africa's largest family? It's never enough to see only what's before us. That's why MTN is empowering a tomorrow that's driven by digital technology and made for Africa by Africans.
To send and receive money across Africa in a flash, use Rapid Transfer today. To find out more, visit us online at ecobank.com. Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Hey, red hot promo. Only for
If I win the 10 million naira, the kind correct thing we are going to arrange for you.
I go open 2 big shops. Now you make me don't recharge plenty today. I even don't collect the deal of the day where Airtel give me today.
Chai! No only ones where I recharge now. That means that you get plenty chance to win past me.
You don't see anything where I get. Let the two of us get that. Wait a minute. Only for you want marry another wife?
Joke at the joke.
Now my name be that. I win 10 million.
We don't win 10 million. We don't win 10 million. You don't say the thing where you get. Now me and you get them now.
You sir. Now joke at the joke when I talk at that time.
Promo runs till end of January 2017. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Emmanuel Ibekachuku, cordially invited the general public to the signing agreement on the joint venture cash call EZE with international oil companies, a public presentation of achievements of the Minister of Petroleum Resources and his agency for the year 2016, codename 2016 Ministerial Scorecard, and presentation of awards to the outstanding staff of the ministry and its parastatals. The triple event are scheduled to hold on Thursday, 15 December 2016. Venue, Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF Auditorium. Time, 8:45 a.m. Special guest of honor at the event is the Vice President, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osibanjo, SAN, GCON. All attendees are expected to be seated by 8:30 a.m. Announcer, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Petroleum Resources.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list. Starting now. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge.
Gioni M6, always in power.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth is in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
The Future Assured project and its components Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With future assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching News Extra on the network service of the NTA. We started off tonight telling you about the presentation of the 2017 budget by President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, let's return to that story at the joint session of the National Assembly, where the president outlined a proposed expenditure. Adamu Sambo takes it up from here.
It was a calm and friendly atmosphere in the hallowed chamber of the House of Representatives as President Muhammadu Buhari led the 2017 budget of recovery and growth before the joint session of the National Assembly. Meant to continue with the 2016 plans aimed at restoring growth and stabilizing the economy, the budget is predicated on a benchmark crude oil price of $42.5 per barrel, an estimated oil production of 2.2 million barrels per day, and an average exchange rate of 305 naira to a dollar. President Buhari said the budget is expected to be financed by an aggregate revenue of 4.94 trillion naira, out of which oil is to contribute 1.98 trillion naira, 1.37 trillion naira from the non-oil sector, 565 billion naira from various recoveries, while the 2.36 trillion naira deficit is to be taken care of through borrowing from both external sources and domestic market. 2.24 trillion naira, or 30.7% of the budget, goes for capital expenditure, which the president said reflects the government's determination to spur economic growth. Consequently, power, works and housing got the lion's share of 529 billion naira, transportation 262 billion naira, and 150 billion naira for special intervention programs.
Provision has also been made in these estimates for the activities that will foster a safe and conducive atmosphere for the pursuit of economic and social activities. In this regard, the allocation of the Presidential Amnesty Program has been increased to 65 billion naira in 2017 budget. We have increased the budgetary allocation to the judiciary from 70 billion naira to 100 billion naira. This increase in funding is further meant to enhance the independence of the judiciary and enable them to perform their functions effectively.
The forum provided the opportunity for President Buhari to restate his conviction that in spite of the challenging economic situation being faced by Nigeria, it is indeed a time of great opportunity.
I will stand my ground and maintain my position that under my watch, that old Nigeria is slowly but surely disappearing, and a new era is rising in which we grow what we eat and consume what we make. We will change our habits and we will change Nigeria. Our objective is to make Nigeria a new manufacturing hub.
In 2017, the president said government will focus on the rapid development of infrastructure, especially rail, roads, and power, while digital platform will be enhanced to modernize the nation's economy, support innovation, and improve productivity. He commended the National Assembly for its genuine support in steering the economy on the path of sustained and inclusive growth, saying, however, that such cooperation and collaboration must continue in order to guarantee a sustainable growth model for the country.
We must all put our differences aside and work together to make this country succeed. The people that voted us in these esteemed positions are looking to us to make a difference. to change the course of this nation, I have no doubt in my mind that by working together, we will put Nigeria back on the path that its founding fathers envisaged.
The 2017 budget, President Buhari said, represents a major step towards rebalancing the economy, ending recession, and insulating it from future external and domestic shocks. From the National Assembly, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And we're still talking the budget. To give an independent insight into the 2017 proposed budget, I'm now being joined by Dr. Emeka Okwengu. He is a development economist. Welcome to News Extra.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, let's begin by looking at what was proposed for this year. This year we had about 6.08 trillion naira, and next year we're looking at 7.2 trillion naira. That's about an increase of 20.4%. What do you make of this increase, especially at this time?
I wish the increase was made to the appropriation bill, not the budget proposal. Okay, if we're able to maintain it and retain it, then it will be a good thing. But first, I think I need to commend the President, I need to commend Nigerians, I need to commend the National Assembly. We are beginning to get it right, probably. However, in saying that, it's also important to look at the indices that run a budget, okay? And against this one now, you're going to be looking at your sources of funding, okay? The budget is broken into an outlay of about 4.9 trillion that is going to be funded partly by deficit of about 2 trillion, partly by taxes, partly by recoveries, okay? Partly by receipts of oil. This is actually where I have a little bit of a worry. But in all, I think it's a good budget.
Well, the President went ahead to say that this year, by next year, we're looking at being less dependent on, of course, issues of import into the country. Now we'll be looking at locally made goods in Nigeria. Agriculture, infrastructure, they got a large percent of this year's budget. What's your take on that?
No, I don't think it was large enough. The President dealt extensively on agriculture and just didn't deal with agriculture at the farm level. He went beyond the farm gates. He talked about inputs, he talked about value processing, he talked about storage, he even talked about the subnational government, being able to also help them stabilize them into getting into production. However, this can't happen without technology. This can't happen without science. Yes, everybody talks about power being very critical. Power is critical, but there are also so many forms of power now, that you can scale down. You don't have to have very large power programs. So for me, I would have been more happier, as it were, if first we weren't depending so much on 2.2 million barrels, okay, to be able to, raise the amount of money we wanted to raise. We were not depending so much on taxations because a lot of these companies are collapsing. If we are not depending so much on borrowing, because we are also going to be borrowing a lot of this budget deficit that has been pronounced about over 2 trillion. I'd have been more happy if we had gotten into some indigenous capacity building. Okay, we're able to first develop our indigenous capacity to the inputs that the President was talking about that can aid agriculture. If we could develop it locally.
But then what do you make of the appeal to state governors? He appealed to state governors to actually give lands to people who want to farm.
Well, that appeal would have come in the way of legislation too, because remember that there are two ways you operate government businesses, at the concurrent level and at the exclusive level. If we had states, probably now running agriculture concurrently, we now don't make it exclusive. That appeal, would have been constitutional in the sense that there would have been some legal approach to say we are thinking about increasing our grain reserves or being able to at least fill up our strategic grain reserve by 60% or 40% or 50%, and we're going to be requiring X amount of land, okay? And then we're going to be asking you to, as part of your input into this process, bring this land into the fore. It might be better, because that appeal, remember that just like the federal government has presented its own budget, the states also are going to be doing their own budgets individually based on what they now think are their critical areas of priority, okay? So for me, what bothers me much is why we have the Niger Delta militancy. Yes, some monies have been allocated to them. I would have been more comfortable if that money wasn't classified as amnesty money. I would have been more comfortable if that money was tied into the Niger Delta Development Program, where you now have a more holistic framework where you're no longer just dealing with an aspect of Niger Delta development, but something that is more holistic. Okay, because by the end of it, 65 billion seems to be like a lot of money. Remember, again, that this is not appropriation. This is not cash packed. Okay, this is just a proposal, you know, that will be subject to further interrogation and probably, if you may, you know, twinkling here and there.
Well, one area Nigerians have been concerned about mostly this period is for large and medium and small scale businesses, you know, getting the support that they need. And the president practically highlighted that today, that these sectors are going to get the financing that they need through the Agricultural Development Bank and through other areas. Well,
if you refinance the agricultural or Bank of Agriculture, you know, there's a plan to give them $1 trillion, and they're supposed to be looking at 20,000 farmers or something. That's going to be a good program. But remember that, you see, in agriculture, it's not every program that you give loans. There are programs that you give technical support. There are programs that you give grants, because you need to do capacity building, you need to do feasibility studies, you need to do probably the back end, you know, your irrigation programs at et al. I don't think 92 billion for capital for agriculture.
But then the power sector also got an increase of about 520 billion as opposed to what it had last year of about 420. There's an increase in the power sector.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would have been happier if we were announcing that agriculture got 520 billion. Okay. Okay, because remember that we've started a process of privatizing the power sector. Okay. A lot of the things that are going to be happening in the power sector, work sector, housing sector are things that can be run on PPPs. Okay, because to a very large extent, they're already tracked. All you need to do is probably now explode or implode them. But for agriculture, where you have 80% of our population getting that small amount of money, it's an increase of what they got last year. I would have wanted, you know, something that a lot much larger, because 80% of our population live in the rural areas. 96% of these people actually depend on agriculture or the agro-allied sector, you know, for their living. And again, remember, and this is important, that we're also facing some sort of famine, if you may. I mean, it's been pronounced. We need to increase our food production. And if the president is talking about getting inputs, I think we must drive towards localizing these inputs. And we'll have the capacity to do this. This is why I'd be more interested if agriculture got some big chunk, and probably science and technology even got a bigger chunk, because they will be the ones to drive the process.
All right, thank you very much. Just as you indicated, of course, there was an increase in the agricultural sector.
Yes, there was.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Emeka Okengu. Thank you for coming on News Extra tonight.
Pleasure.
It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, at Wednesday's Senate plenary, senators expressed great concern over the spate of building collapse in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayeni reports that the plenary dwelt extensively on how to avert further mishap.
On a rather sad note, Senate Minority Leader Godswill Akpabio sponsored a motion on church building collapse in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, noting that concerted effort should be made to put a stop to the spate of such incidents in the country.
Such incidents have occurred in major cities in Nigeria, and further statistics indicate that 60% of structures in Nigeria were built without authorization.
When unfortunate incidences like this happen, we should not just come here, condole and mourn. We should be specific. We should provide solutions.
It was indeed an opportunity for us to also hear from the governor all that happened and the efforts of the government to ensure that lives were saved.
We ask the federal and state government to ensure compliance to building regulations.
In a related motion, Senator Bintu Masi Garba noted with dismay recent suicide attacks on Madagali Market in Adamawa State.
The Senate also is aware that not fewer than 56 lives were lost, even as 177 others were said to have been injured.
While presenting the report on the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Mounting Humanitarian Crisis, Senator Shehu Sani noted that most contracts awarded by the presidential initiative on the Northeast were overinflated.
The entire procurement activities carried out by the presidential initiative in the Northeast contravenes federal government financial rules and regulations number 2948.
Reacting to allegations of his links to a company indicted in the report, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal, said the Senate should have summoned him to defend himself.
It's unfortunate because Nigerian politicians have developed the habit of bringing him down syndrome.
From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayanu, NTA News.
In motivating its personnel as military makes a final push to dislodge Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast, the Air Force recently promoted some officers, senior officers. Now, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, while decorating 33 of the air ranks, urged them to see the promotion as a platform to rededicate themselves in the service to the nation. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
14 Air Commodores were to Air Vice Marshals, while 19 Group Captains rose to Air Commodores. They are the ones who scaled through the assessment of the promotion board and described as exceptional in their various departments. They now wear the ranks of 1-star and 2-star generals, a milestone in their chosen profession.
We thank God today. We have an Air Force that we are all proud of, just because of deliberate efforts of some of our recent leaders, most especially the government.
As they are decorated, the Chief of Air Staff believes they will perform better in the new positions, especially in the fight against terrorism and other security responsibilities.
What we want to do is to make sure that we position the right people, so people that can understand the difficult times the nation is going through in terms of security challenges, people who are familiar with the complex nature of some of these difficulties, so that they are in position to take decision wherever they are posted to.
On recent attacks in Madagali and Maiduguri by Boko Haram terrorists, Air Marshal Abubakar described it as a mere show by the drowning terrorist group.
The movement Boko Haram is dead as far as I'm concerned, because they cannot move as an organized group like they used to in 2014. Isolated cases of bombing, suicide bombing, are things that are always associated with insurgencies. You can't totally eradicate them. We are doing everything humanly possible to make sure that society is safe. But you must also remember that a fighter aircraft cannot support a 13-year-old girl carrying bomb. It's not possible. And that is where you and I and other Nigerians have a role to play. That of giving us intelligence. Where are these girls coming from? Who is arming them? Who are the guys? These are information that we should be able to get from the communities. And I think they are doing fairly well now. They are giving us a lot of information, and it's on account of that that we are able to succeed.
They worked hard and they got it. But in the words of the Chief of Air Staff, the reward for hard work is more work. So they should expect new postings with this new rank. From the headquarters, Nigerian Air Force, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
The 68 regular cadets of the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, have been advised to adhere to the regulations governing the academy and the military training throughout their stay in the academy. The Commandant, Major General Mohammed Tassi Ibrahim, gave the charge of the matriculation for the cadets at the academy in Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikum reports.
The provisions of the Nigerian Defense Academy laws.
453 cadets of Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, those of Sciences and Faculty of Engineering, accepting the provisions of the Nigeria Defense Academy to be honest, committed and loyal in all their academic and military training for the next 5 years, preparatory to their presidential commissioning upon completion. Major General Mohammed Tassi Ibrahim is the commandant of the academy.
There are exceptions where, owing to disciplinary processes, medical condition, or academic performances, a cadet may have to leave the academy before attaining such goal. So our expectation is that whoever is here as a cadet will eventually make it to becoming an officer of the armed forces.
The most important aspect for cadet is to remain focused, be determined that he will succeed.
They also advised parents to desist from pampering the cadets with money as they are in the academy for self-development.
They are young men who are being molded to become super adults who can do wonders on behalf of the armed forces, on behalf of the nation. Therefore, we expect them to treat them like real adults.
So we expect the parents will send their wards to the academy and leave the rest to us.
In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachku, NTA News.
In just 1 year of existence, Brick Hall School has demonstrated that privately owned schools could provide high-quality education at affordable cost to meet the educational needs and academic excellence of pupils. Founder of the school, Senator Joy Modi, says it has been a fulfilling year with giant strides as scorecard. Franka Ozoma Olwa reports.
Located at a serene and beautiful academic environment in Kaura district of Abuja, Brick Hall School is endowed with vast premises, spacious classrooms and multimedia learning facilities in line with international best practices. Conceptualized as a model school with an integrated curriculum laced with cultural values, Brick Hall School helps children to discover their talents and guides them on the path to fulfilling their destinies and dreams. Little wonder eminent Nigerians and policymakers gathered to celebrate the achievements of the school in the last 12 months.
We must fast-track the process by which private sector takes over infrastructure so that more money will be available to go into education and the health sector.
Truly, urgent revival of the education sector is not a matter of choice for Nigeria, but an imperative. Our economy is in the throes of pain today because we thought the oil windfall would last forever.
So far, Brick Hall School has made the difference in sports, especially in taekwondo, with Chika Chukwumerije as a consultant.
We are lucky. Most of our teachers already were well trained, but when they came in here, we started training and retraining. And where we can't get what we want from inside, we always outsource.
We're trying everything possible to raise children that are technology savvy. We're also introducing coding, which is going to really put the children on a wonderful pedestal. So we know that in the future, Brick Hall School will be a household name.
Brick Hall School for now has more than 100 pupil population. Franka Uzoma Olwa, NTA.
Now, why do huge investments go up in flames and people watch helplessly, especially in circumstances where quick action could have saved the situation? What do you do when a fire alarm sounds? Elizabeth Wotwoma attempts to answer this question in this report.
The recent fire in Benin, which razed a popular supermarket to a large extent, exposed the inadequacies of the fire agency to bring such situation under control in record time.
My fire engine was faulty. The only source we could use is get the assistance agencies that can give us.
Ensuring that our equipment is up to date and serviced, and ensuring that we have everything up to standard. We have also taken the steps recently to purchase these fire blankets.
This edifice behind me is one of such structures here in Benin City, worth billions of naira, where people converge on daily basis for their needs. Apart from the measures put in place by the occupiers of mega structures, the Edo State Fire Service says its response to emergencies are prompt, except for some cases of inadequacies, and advise occupiers of mega structures to include exit features in their building design.
So I'm appealing for anybody who wants to contribute, make the fire service a viable one.
Governor Basaki has directed that all public structures should have a place for firefighting facilities, especially during this dry season.
Following.
All right, we're sorry for that hitch in that report. Now, the police have arrested 5 people suspected to be connected with the killing of a police officer during the last Rivers rerun elections. First Public Relations Officer, DCP Don Awuna, who briefed journalists at the force headquarters, said a number of security men were also arrested. Edino Justice has the details.
Parading the suspect, DCP Awuna said they were picked up by SARS operatives at various points in the state. He noted that they were caught with some sensitive and non-sensitive INEC electoral materials, arms and rounds of ammunition.
These suspects were responsible for several armed attacks that took place during the elections in places like Abonema, Emoha, Eche, and Omogu, where a police officer, a DSP, was gruesomely murdered. The rifles and 112 ammunition were recovered from them. Other members of the killer gangs fled, and detectives are on their trail.
While reiterating that the last reverse rerun election was a huge success compared to the previous ones in the state, he said the attempt by some politicians to scuttle the election failed due to massive deployment of security personnel and materials. He gave assurance that the Inspector General of Police had constituted an investigative panel to look into the alleged professional misconduct. Donawuna noted that the suspect will be charged to court on completion of investigation. Aiding of Justice, NTA News.
Now, states that are yet to establish Bureau of Statistics have been told to do so in order to overcome challenges of accelerated social economic growth through reliable statistics information gathering. This was the message of the Director, Field Services of the National Bureau of Statistics at the launch of a national strategy for the development of statistics 11. Abdullahi Suleimani Aji reports.
Achievements recorded after the implementation of the first national strategy for the development of statistics from 2010 to 2014. A review of the implementation was undertaken, which led to the design of a second strategy to consolidate on the gains. Having met the standard of reforming the Nigerian statistical system towards effective implementation, the national strategy for the development of statistics 2 and the sector statistics strategy is launched in partnership with the European Union.
The current reform in the Nigerian statistical system entails that for NBS to effectively and efficiently produce statistics, each state of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory must have functional State Bureau of Statistics.
The EU also is supporting statistics with a view to ensuring that there is disaggregated data available for planning and policy making in Nigeria.
Government ministries, departments and agencies were urged to actively collaborate with the Bureau for effective decision-making. The National Strategy for the Development of Statistics targets the utilization of human resources to effectively use data for economic planning and growth. This initiative comes at a time when the nation is building capacity. In Abuja, I'm Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged the former governor of Oyo State, Rashid Ladoja, and Wahid Akambi for alleged 4.7 billion naira fraud. Vera Chinwoba was at the Federal High Court and now reports.
The 8-count charge preferred against former governor for Oyo State, Rashid Ladoja, and one Wahid Akambi was filed in 2008. They were first arraigned before Justice Mohammed Idris of the Federal High Court. Their rearrangement followed the dismissal of the appeal against the charges, which went all the way to the Supreme Court over a period of 7 years. The charges border on money laundering and unlawful conversion of funds belonging to Oyo State to their personal use. The defendants have, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges. The defense counsel, Bolaji Onilenla and Adeyinka Olumide Fusika, asked the court to allow their clients continue on the bail conditions granted in 2008 by Justice Mohammed, since the accused persons have kept faith with the terms and conditions of bail. EFCC counsel Olufemi Olabisi told the court that the accused persons acted contrary to Money Laundering Act. In his ruling, Justice Idris said there was no evidence that the accused persons breached the condition of bail given to them in the last 8 years. Trial has been slated for the 14th of February 2017. In Lagos, Viera Chimoba, NTA News.
The reintegration mandate of the Presidential Amnesty Program towards reintegrating beneficiaries into the society in a productive and sustainable manner has paid off with the employment of 4 students trained under the program by the Benson Idahosa University. Uduak Obong Achibong reports on the Presidential Amnesty Program Award held in the university.
In December 2011, the Benson Idahosa University entered into partnership with the Presidential Amnesty Program to train beneficiaries under the program. It has enrolled 636 students and graduated 169 students within the last 2 years. Out of the 169 graduates, 8 of them graduated with first-class honors, 47 with second-class upper division, 108 with second-class lower division, and 6 with third class, while 4 of the students with first-class honors have been employed by the university.
This phase underscores the mandate of the Presidential Amnesty Program to build the capacity of an inherited caseload of 30,000 beneficiaries and then reintegrate them back into society in a productive and sustainable manner.
The Vice-Chancellor of Benson Idahosa University, Professor Ernest Izevige, commended the federal government for the laudable initiative.
Hope that the program will get to a certain level, it will be robust enough where other stakeholders, such as the oil company and so on, can also buy in.
Some of the students spoke glowingly about the amnesty program.
Born in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm proud to be part of this success story.
If there's anything I've gotten from this institution and from the program entirely, is that change begins with you.
In Benin, Udrakobong Achibong, NTA News.
The rescue mission of the governing party in Nigeria, the All Progressives Congress, APC, was commended at the launch of a book on political cases in Nigeria. Adebola Brooksling Sunday reports that the book was titled Long Walk of the Progressives in Nigeria.
Author of the book, who is a senior special assistant to the president on research, Sylvester Imanobe, says the 965-page book summarizes the steps taken by the APC to save the nation from total derailment and placing it on track. The book reviewer, Dr. Umar Ado, commended the bold steps taken by the progressives.
No Nigerian can deny the crucial roles played by this triumvirate in the struggle to build a better Nigeria for all generations.
A progressive is somebody, for him, the larger interest of society transcends over and above his own personal interest. A progressive is somebody, for him, the larger interest of society transcends over and above his own personal interest.
And ours is, as messengers, to give credence to what is worthy, as positioned by works of nature like this, to understand our society and improve support for governance that is beneficial to our people.
The book also captures the philosophy of the oppressor, where it is permitted for the strong to take advantage of the weak in the society.
There are a lot of things that are going on, but it will take a little while for them to, the results to begin to come. I can assure you that the 2017 budget would end most of these things. Before we get to 2019, Nigerians will shout hallelujah.
Participants foresee a strong and united APC that will be accepted by all Nigerians based on the leadership qualities of President Muhammadu Buhari as the nation journeys to 2019. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
On News Extra, just ahead, small businesses set to get access to cheap funds next year. Plus, NPDC loses 1.5 trillion naira to a tax on its installations. You get more details when News Extra returns.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
My daughter, you are a star. May you be the secret ingredients that makes a happy home.
Maggi Star, made from natural soybeans and other carefully selected ingredients, prepared in a way only Maggi knows. That's why for generations, Maggi Star has been the secret that brings out the rich taste and aroma in local soups. With Maggi, every woman is a star.
Nestle, good food, good life. Hello?
Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list. Starting now. Get to the door. Congratulations, you have passed the test. Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge. Gioni M6, always in power.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All right, welcome back. It's still News Extra on the NTA. President Muhammadu Buhari says the prevailing economic situation, notwithstanding his administration, will continue to raise the morals of a nation's military personnel in appreciation of their sacrifices for national unity, stability and integrity. The president stated this while decorating newly promoted officers amongst this aide with their new ranks. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Those decorated with their new ranks include the Commander, Presidential Air Fleet, Air Vice Marshal Sadiq Ismail Kaita, and his aide-de-camp, Colonel Muhammad Lawal Abubakar. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulated the officers for their elevation, which he described as well-deserved.
Those who are really working with me are under absolute surveillance almost 24 hours a day. So I congratulate you. What remains is performance. Those that are coming behind you are being equally trained intellectually, and there is so much competition. Your juniors will critically look at you and see whether you are also being saluted every time you meet.
Speaking on the gallantry being demonstrated by the military in the fight against insurgency in the northeast and other parts of the country, the president made a case for military commanders to ensure appropriate reward for hard work and professionalism.
We intend to raise the morale of the military so that they can deal with the insecurity of the country, especially northeast, northwest, now Delta, that hold the economy of the country. There is a need, for military officers to show leadership qualities in terms of keeping an eye on all those under their command and making sure that they deserve to be promoted.
The newly promoted officers expressed delight over the confidence reposed in them and promised to justify it.
There is always a sense of responsibility because whenever you are promoted to a higher rank, you know that you have increased responsibilities. So you have to be ready to shoulder those responsibilities.
This promotion has made me to aspire to work harder, to remain loyal and more committed to the President, Commander-in-Chief, and indeed to Nigeria as a nation.
The ceremony was witnessed by some ministers, service chiefs, and family members. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
On business news tonight, agriculture and other small-scale businesses to have access to cheap funds next year as commercial banks agree to contribute in raising the fund. This and more in our business news segment with Abdullahi Muhammad.
Hello, you're on to business news. An estimated 30 billion naira will be made available at a single-digit interest rate. This is expected to stimulate agricultural activities and small-scale businesses. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele disclosed this at the Bankers Committee retreat, which ended in Lagos. The estimated 30 billion naira is expected to be raised by the Nigerian commercial banks. The banks, according to the Apex Bank Governor, have reached a decision to contribute a percentage of their profit after tax to raise the fund.
The modality for the fund, which will operate primarily as an equity fund, will be worked upon by the Bankers Committee and will be communicated in the next few days.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Ikechukwu Inelama, has reiterated that the federal government has laid the basic foundation of a framework for the creation of an enabling business environment. What is more critical, he said, is for the private sector to partner with government in providing widespread infrastructural development.
And the only way to do that, this is why I talk about this partnership, is that we need to work very collaboratively, very closely with the private sector and even civil society, all the people who are interested in this for other reasons. Some are interested in it for.
One of the main reasons why we have NESH as a platform is we're a bit focused on being practical oriented.
And that's business news. Thanks for being part of it. News Extra continues shortly.
Abdullahi Muhammad there for some business news. The Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, the exploration and production subsidiary of the NNPC, says it lost 1.5 trillion naira to a tax on its facilities this year. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Baru, stated this at the opening of the 2016 NNPC Security Awareness with the theme NNPC Security, a task for all stakeholders. The GMD lamented the rise in spate of criminality on the society, especially on the oil and gas industry, leading to loss of much-needed revenue. He said in the year under review, the NPDC recorded 59 security incidents, resulting in the crude production shutdown, deferment and revenue loss of over 1.5 trillion naira. Dr. Barrow appealed to Nigerians to help protect the national assets, pointing out that the fight against criminality can only be achieved when players of the industry imbibe the consciousness that security is a task for everyone.
These acts of banditry in the oil and gas industry have deprived the country of much-needed revenue for developmental purposes. It has polluted the environment and led to the incurring of needless expenditure in repairs and environmental reclamation.
GMD also launched the corporation's Kidnap for Ransom policy to raise staff awareness on the need to avoid actions that predispose them to being kidnapped, especially at a time like this when kidnapping for ransom has become very rampant. Zamfara State Governor Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar has presented a budget estimate of more than 107 billion naira before the State House of Assembly for its approval. Abdullahi Gariba Bidinkudu reports that the budget estimate is higher than that of 2016 by more than 6 billion naira.
A breakdown of the appropriation bill indicates that more than 70 billion naira, representing 64%, goes to capital expenditure, while 37.7 billion naira has been earmarked for recurrent expenditure. This is to be funded from 72.4 billion naira recurrent and 35.2 billion naira capital revenues. Governor Abdulaziz Yari pointed out that 4 sectors of the economic development, social sector, environment and administration have been identified for special attention. It will include diversification of the economy through agricultural development, education, healthcare delivery, and the protection of the environment through town planning and housing development.
This NNPC session is still the implementation of 2016 budget most especially the capital companies.
Earlier, while reviewing the 2016 budget and achievements in Governor Yari described the year as challenging in both economic and security front. He particularly singled out the issue of armed banditry and cattle rustling affecting agriculture and the economy of the state, which is being tackled headlong.
It is however we are trying to know that the government order have not simply formed arms to allow the situation to run in the way. We are indeed exercising towards addressing this new continuance.
The governor announced government plan to prioritize solid minerals exploration and agricultural development to meet up with the challenges. Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
The Joint Senate House Committee on Land and Transport says the National Assembly is determined to take necessary legislative actions and other interventions to address the current challenges of the Nigerian Railway Corporation. This is to enable it provide seamless rail transportation in line with international best practices. Chairman of the committee, Gbenga Ashafa, disclosed this during an oversight visit to the Nigerian Railway Corporation headquarters at Butemeta, Lagos. Vera Chimumba has more.
Efficient rail transport system is a key component of economic development. This is what the National Assembly leadership wants to leverage on to reverse the fortunes of the 119-year-old Nigerian Railway Corporation. Already the Senate has passed the 2016 Nigerian Railway Corporation Bill and has conducted public hearing at developing a practical legal framework to enable the corporation meet international best practices. Chairman House Committee on Land Transport, Gbenga Ashafa, said the committee is embarking on a review of management of corporation finances in the current budget so as to ascertain the augmentations to be made in 2017 budget. He also said the committee had observed that the main ministry took up projects that ordinarily should domicile with the corporation given its expertise.
If we invest more in these coaches, it will reduce drastically the issues of our unemployment. New settlements will be created, commerce will thrive in the area of agriculture and mineral resources. We will be able to transport our goods cheaply.
Managing Director of the corporation, Fide Tukiria, told the committee members that there has been no capital released to the corporation out of what was earmarked for capital works in the current budget. He, however, said through hard work and ingenuity, the corporation has implemented phases 1 and 2 of the railway 25 years strategic vision.
We have to have a time-based rail system, like rail operations, where we say every 30 minutes, every 1 hour, not once a week.
The committee members enjoyed a train ride from Ido to Butemeta and inspected diesel running shade. In Lagos, Vera Chumba, NTA News.
We'll take another break now, and News Extra would continue shortly.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain, fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
Nigeria joins the rest of the world in going digital. This means Nigeria is moving from analog terrestrial TV broadcasting to digital.
Now, digital broadcasting gives you clearer pictures, crystal clear sound, and a chance for more channels and more shows to watch. Digital TV is a whole new experience for you and a rich harvest of digital development for the nation. Come aboard, Nigeria going digital. Coming to Abuja soon.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Far away from home, 2 million people contend with life, not as we know it, but as they come to know it. The Nigerian Television Authority presents the forced journey. Pain. Challenges and prospects for new beginning. Only on the network service of the NTA. Keep a date with this unique perspective.
It's that time of the year when we appreciate all those that meant so much to us. Our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, business, and above all, you, our esteemed viewer. Together, we made 2016 great. Together, we shall make 2017 even greater. That's why we say thank you. Merry Christmas and prosperous New Year.
A king, his throne, his subjects. A chronicle of centuries of conquest, strength, struggle, and victory. A thriving culture. The Nigerian Television Authority presents Benin, Might, Mystery, and Myth. Benin Kingdom, showing on the network service of the NTA.
Thank you for being there. You're watching News Extra. Now, one after the other, they have promised the affluent, only to ultimately bring both the affluent and the poor subscribers to ruin. The Mavericks Mondial Money Box MMM scheme is being threatened and ready to join a long line of money laundering schemes which have disfigured Nigeria's fiscal landscape. In this special report, Chukunonso Nwaboize examines how far, so far, with MMM business in Nigeria.
The Mavroid Mondial Money Box MMM was established in 1989 in Russia by Sergei Mavroid, his brother Yashlev Mavroid, and Olga Melnikova, with a business model that claims to pay investors 30% dividend within 30 days of investing through a social financial network. After a rapid growth, the scheme crashed in 1994 with investors billions of dollars, leading to about 50 subscribers committing suicide due to frustration. Reports also revealed that MMM sunk investors' money in Zimbabwe and South Africa, leaving behind its ugly trail. Despite warnings issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Assembly, as well as some religious leaders, the scheme appears to have found its foothold in the country, with subscribers numbering more than 2 million.
I invested 1 million and I'm happy because they saved it for me.
Even with the rumors, nothing shakes me because I have belief it's not a scam. He is going to pay everybody.
Some people will still argue that it is a scheme worth putting their monies into because of the returns they are getting cannot be gotten from any other business. But my cardinal consideration is this: any business that I do not understand well enough as to be able to defend and ask somebody else to put his money in it isn't a business I want to put money in.
Now that it seems that a financial tsunami has occurred in Africa's largest economy, with the MMM suspending its transactions till January 14, 2017, what's the fate of millions of Nigerians participating in the scheme?
There hasn't been anyone that has been successful. People always get burnt at the end of the day.
And I've been warning people, they didn't hear, so it's good for them. Very, very good for them. Even if it's my brother and he goes for that, no sympathy. Because in Islam, it's riba.
I just saw that thing that it's the end time. And some people do not understand. How can I put money? I will not just put my money, they will double my money. I did not work, I did not do anything, they will double my money like that. I don't think that one is helping people.
However, in the past, recovery from non-liquidity by schemes such as this has proven doggy. Subscribers will have to wait for time to tell if their hope will not be dashed. In Abuja, Chukunonsonwa Boeze, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Chukunonso, for that report. We've got a bit of sports just ahead. Stay with us.
Our latest edition of TV Guide is out. This edition of your favorite magazine will simply blow your mind. The package is loaded, and our offering is quite illuminating. NTA has a new Director General, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, a tested and trusted professional, an old wine that keeps getting better with age. This is the new driver of the digital switch over train. Get to know him more in TV Guide. And now, on our cover is one of Nigeria's finest comic actors, Afiz Oyetoro, aka Saka. Peep into his world and you will see how he is putting from glory to glory. The change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did an assessment so far. All our refreshing columns and incisive features are a collector's item and research materials. TV Guide, available on your newsstands and in all NTA stations nationwide. Also in our embassies in United Kingdom, USA, China, Ghana and Egypt. TV Guide. Grab a copy and give one to a friend. TV Guide. Still your indispensable companion.
Hear the call of change. Stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, oh Geruola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
Welcome back. On Global Tidbits tonight, United Nations condemned the Gambia's military's decision to seize the headquarters of Electoral Commission in Banjul, and South Sudan's President Salva Kiir addresses Parliament, calls for national dialogue to end 3 years of civil war at a time the United Nations cautions against Rwanda-like genocide in the country. For other stories on Global Tidbits, we'll join Runke Kolawole.
The United Nations Human Rights Commission has, at an emergency session in Geneva on Wednesday, appealed to international community to immediately deploy 4,000 strong protection force to South Sudan to halt Rwanda-like genocide and set up a court to prosecute atrocities in the country. And just as end seems in sight on Aleppo Wall, a deal to evacuate civilians and rebel fighters from the city appears to have failed as heavy shelling resumes in the rebel-held Syrian city. Report says the breakdown of the truce is attributed to demands made by Syrian government. Eastern Aleppo has been seized by rebels since 2012. Meanwhile, amid concerns over civilian casualties linked to the bombardment in Yemen, the United States says it will limit its arms sales to Saudi Arabia and that precision-guided weapons will no longer be delivered to the country, says Pentagon official. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
Now, the Nigerian Television Authority is poised to strengthening grassroots towards boosting the cash inflow and revenue of sustainable national growth and development of the country. This was the thrust of a courtesy visit by the Grassroots Sports Festival to the office of the NTA. Joseph Johnson reports.
At a time like this, when government seeks to diversify the national economy, it has become apparent that attracting investable fund flow in the direction of sports will no doubt yield foreign exchange for the economy from exports of Nigerian international sports legends. But this could not become a reality overnight without a veritable template, planned investment, and integrated national platform well articulated for sports development in the nation. To make this possible, the Grassroots Sports Festival team was at the Director General's office, who was represented by the Executive Director, Special Duties, Joseph Etuk, seeking for partnership.
We are working towards ensuring Nigeria gets 20 medals in the next Tokyo Olympics. If your objective is to bring these people out to the limelight, you can be sure that NTA will give you all the support that you need. A complete 24-hour channel has been created to run sports from morning till the next morning. So we have sufficient airtime to devote for sports development.
The team commended the sports unit of the NTA for its support so far. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Chief of Staff to the President intervenes in Super Falcons' financial entitlement as Nigerians win first match at the beach football competition in Lagos. Amanzi Marcus reports.
The Super Falcons, Africa's current women's football champions, will have a cause to smile